shift in the Western worldviews away from the biblical model poses enormous challenges to our culture and the church. Ideas have consequences, and the result of the loss of the idea of the image of God as the foundation for human worth can have catastrophic consequences for human rights and human life. But just as the Church changed the Roman world by living out the truths of the gospel faithfully, we today have the opportunity to do the same. This book shows how much of an impact the biblical worldview can have in transforming society. If we follow the example of those who have gone before us in learning to think biblically and to live out the full implications of the gospel, we can have the same impact on our world today. I highly recommend this book, which is well written and is delivered in a style accessible to the laity. Church members, pastors, and teachers need to read it and then pass it on to non-Christian friends. It is a powerful and winsome apologetic for the Christian faith. Charles W. Colson, founder of Prison Fellowship. Chapter 1. What is a worldview and why should I care? This book is about why you think the way you do. Chances are, if you are listening to this, you either grew up in the Western world or have been heavily influenced by it. And this means you probably look at the world from one of the perspectives that developed within Western culture. In other words, your worldview has been shaped by the Western cultural experience. What is a worldview? A worldview is the framework you use to interpret the world and your place in it. It is like a set of glasses that you look through to bring what is happening in the world into mental focus. If you like computers, you can think of your worldview as your operating system, the thing that converts your experiences into the ones and zeros your mind understands. The thing that defines what inputs, that is, experiences, mean, which of them you accept as meaningful, and which you exclude or ignore. More simply, your worldview is what you think of as common sense about the world. It is your gut-level, instinctive response to the basic philosophical questions such as, what is real? Metaphysics. What can I know and how can I know it? Epistemology. And, are there such things as right and wrong, and if so, how do I know what they are? Ethics. But you do not need to be a philosopher to have a worldview. Philosophers think about these issues in greater depth than most people, but whether or not you've studied philosophy, you still have intuitive answers to the questions, and therefore you have a worldview. In fact, everyone has a worldview because otherwise it would be impossible to learn, to make decisions, to decide on values and priorities, in short, to function at all in the world. To understand worldviews a bit better, consider the first of these questions. What is real? Is the physical universe real? Does it exist? Chances are simply asking these questions on some level seems ridiculous to you, unless you were a philosophy major. The answer probably is, of course the physical universe is real. What kind of stupid question is that? But the problem is that your answer, which seems so patently obvious to you, is not so obvious to people who hold a different worldview. So, for example, many Native Americans have historically believed that the physical universe is secondary to the world of dreams. In this culture, dreams are more real than the waking world. Or if you are a Hindu, you may argue that the universe is not truly real. It is simply a dream in the mind of God. Not everyone thinks of the same things as common sense, or, to put it differently, not everyone shares the same worldview. Along with these basic sorts of questions, another aspect of worldview involves understanding what it means to be human. Where did I come from? Are we different from animals? How do I relate to other people? How do I relate to other animals and to the physical world? Why am I here? Does life have any purpose or meaning? What happens when I die? These are the big questions of life, and most people do not have conscious answers to these sorts of questions, just like they do not have conscious answers to the more philosophically oriented worldview questions.